We are all going to die. None of us know when this will happen. It could be tomorrow, it could be in 60 years' time. But when this happens, every material possession, every external gratification will cease to be useful to us. And as we drift off into the ether, we might reflect on the life we chose to live. What do you want this life to be? To me, the process of meditating on death is a very useful technique for framing choices in my own life. And it's definitely something I considered in my decision to study medicine. Of course, to study it later in life, it's a significant step. Indeed, the decision to study medicine at any age is a significant step. But there's something exceptionally challenging about starting over once you've already headed off down the garden path. In this video, I'd like to share my thoughts on the question, am I too old to study medicine? And I'd also like to give you some tools that you might be able to use in making your own decision. Medical training is a grueling process. From day one of your medical degree to graduation as a consultant is somewhere in the region of 10 to 15 years. If you're already 30, that means graduating at 40 or 45 years old. And well, this should be enough to scare most people off. But if just being a consultant is your goal, then I'm sorry to say you might have lost before you've begun. Rather, in my opinion, the goal should be on becoming and being a better doctor every day. This starts on day one of your medical training, and it continues your entire career, regardless of the specialty you choose. Thus, if you're going to choose medicine as a career, then it's worth choosing it because you're excited by the journey, not just that shiny fellowship postnomial. Which leads me to my second point. If you're still listening and my previous commentary hasn't scared you off, then it is time to consider your motivations and your capacity to study medicine. I'll break it down into a couple of questions, but I think it's worth actually journaling on these if medicine is something that you're seriously considering. The first and the simplest question, tell me why. Why do you want to study medicine? Do you actually want to do it? Or is it just a fantasy? As I've said before, do you fully understand that you need to love the process and not just the destination? Secondly, do you have a realistic shot of getting in? The reality is, gaining admission to medical school is incredibly competitive. If your grades aren't competitive, then it's not going to happen. And if this is the case, then you do need to consider doing further study. Having answered the last two questions, the third is, and it's a bit of a tough one, you need to ask yourself whether you're in a financial position to actually do it. The initial medical training, that is your medical degree, is 4 years and it's largely unpaid. Now don't be put off by this, it is absolutely possible to work during this time, even have a family, but realistically it's a pretty bare bones existence. Furthermore, there is the cost of the medical degree itself. B places are expensive and a CSP place will still cost you about $10,000 a year. So it's worth checking your fee help or your HECS balance to see where you're actually at. These are kind of the harsh questions that you do need to answer if you're going to go down that medical path. Truthfully though, if the inner daemon is calling you to do it, you're kind of fucked. You may need to push on. Having said all that, if you're still listening, then it's probably worth getting on with it. Because you know what? The arrow of time pushes forward regardless. And every day, at least to me, it seems to be speeding up. When I was 25, the time to study was too long. When I was 26, it was the same. When I was 27, the same again. Now all that time has passed, and had I done it then, I'd be there now. But I started at 32, and I'm 2.5 years away almost. But it literally feels like yesterday that we kicked off on day one. I guess now the thing that scares me is that it might actually be that quick that soon I'll be at the end of my career. Secondly is meaning. In my opinion, this is the most important thing in life. And let's consider for a moment the original meditation on death. I wish we could all live in a society where the pursuit of meaning was promoted above all else. That doesn't mean we all need to be doctors or CEOs or high-flying executives, something to that effect. But it does mean that we should direct our lives to the pursuit of meaning. When you look back, will you be proud of yourself for throwing off all your fears and doubts and pushing ahead regardless? Or will you look back on a life marred by what if? If you have any questions or you want a bit more help, please drop some questions below. Alternatively, if you'd like to have a longer form discussion, you can book a call with me in the link in the description. Purpose here is to explore your motivations and perhaps come up with a bit more of a plan of attack for you. These are completely free, but I am limited in the amount of people that I can talk to at any one time. Thanks, have a great day. Peace.